Thank you, Honorable Dato' Speaker. Thank you for the honor and the opportunity to debate Yang Amat Berhormat, the Premier's address at this third meeting of the first session of the 19th Sarawak State Legislative Assembly. I wish to congratulate our Premier of Sarawak for a handsome win in the 15th January election, winning 23 out of 31 parliamentary seats. I also wish to thank my 32,000 voters who have given me their unwavering support as well in the just concluded GE15. I wish to assure our people that I shall continue to serve our rakyat dutifully and diligently. Fighting for the rights of Sarawak will always be my priority and mission. I would also like to emphasize that member for Padungan who stood in Stampin Parliamentary constituency should apologize to Sarawakians. During his campaign, he said GPS equal UMNO and Najib will be out of jail and Zahid will be pardoned if GPS wins the election. Member for Padungan owes Sarawakians a big apology for misleading them with his lies. I also wish to congratulate our Yang Amat Berhormat Premier of Sarawak, member for N26 Kedong, for presenting the best ever budget in the history of Sarawak for 2023 at more than 11 billion ringgit. I am indeed proud that with his prudent wisdom, he has made Sarawak richer, and with the projected revenue of 11.035 billion, total ordinary expenditure of 10.797 billion ringgit, the 2023 state budget is expected to generate a surplus of 238 million ringgit. Dato' Speaker, I also wish to congratulate our Premier of Sarawak for successfully tabling the Sarawak Sovereign Wealth Future Fund Board Bill, which is our Premier's brainchild project. I note, unfortunately, member for Padungan on his Facebook page criticized the bill on sovereign wealth fund, saying that the finances should be more transparent. I wish to remind member for Padungan to take a look at himself first. Where is the 4 million given to him during the MOU signing ceremony? Member for Padungan has been an Adun and MP for 3 terms. Where is his report card? I have mentioned it before and I'm still waiting for him to produce his report card, as well as his apologies to the people of Sarawak. I haven't seen it on Facebook yet. I have mentioned it before and I'm still waiting for him to produce his report card. Member for Padungan also said that Council in general only submitted financial report every few years. Member for Padungan must be so busy with the events these few days that he did not realize that the financial reports from MPP, MBKS, Samarahan, including 18 other councils, are sitting on his table this very June session. Our Premier of Sarawak, in his budget speech, reiterated that Sarawak does its best when it comes to our openness to diversity and multiculturalism. This is a blessing for us that we are all united together despite our differences in race, religion, and cultural belief. There is no other state in Malaysia where different races can sit and eat together in the same coffee shop or restaurant. The Sarawak government has always promoted unity among us, and this is something we should treasure and teach our generations to come. Togetherness. Uni4 is another entity found only in Sarawak. 50 million ringgit has been allocated to churches and temples in 2022 to promote healthy development of all religious and cultural exchanges in Sarawak. Sarawak has demanded for many rights to be returned through MA 63, and the IGC report, and as Premier of Sarawak stated, the Sarawak government will not waver on the rights due to her. GPS has spoken loudly, and I urge all Sarawakians to continue to support GPS, led by our Premier Sarawak, who only wants the best for Sarawak. Dato' Amar Speaker, I wish to thank our Premier again and the GPS government for the construction of a sludge treatment plant at the Batu Kitang water treatment plant. The constructions of water treatment plant number 5 at Lande, also in Batu Kitang, a water storage tank at Bukit Sipaya, the rehabilitation of water treatment plant number 1, also at Batu Kitang, and other water supply projects costing a total of 125 million. These construction projects will no doubt create job opportunities and economic activities in my Batu Kitang constituency for many years to come. Dato' Speaker, the Sarawak government's emphasis on education is well known. The teaching of science and mathematics in the English language is only done in Sarawak. In our drive to improve Sarawak, Sarawak is also teaching science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in English to ensure that our students can compete in the global arena. Our GPS government has also emphasized UEC, and each year, allocations are pumped into Chinese schools to assist them. This year alone, 22 million were allocated to Chinese schools, and that's only in Sarawak, only found in Sarawak. Our Sarawak government is the first in Malaysia to recognize UEC, and despite multiple promises by Pakatan Harapan before, it's still not recognized yet. Let's hope it will be recognized this time round. Honorable Dato' Speaker, I have spelled out the danger faced by road users at the roundabout at Mile 15, Kuching Siren Road. This roundabout was badly designed, I would say, and constructed by JKR during the days of Pakatan Harapan. How can a small roundabout be constructed in the middle of a straight highway? It has caused a lot of accidents, even fatality. Since its completion, within 6 months, there were over 200 accidents. This is something the Federal Public Works Department Malaysia should immediately look into and to change this lane to a designated U-turn similar to the ones in Siburan, not a roundabout. I have been there many times, and when it rains, the situation is worse, as road users' vision can be affected by the pouring rain. I trust that the federal government can address the problems as soon as possible to prevent more people from getting injured or killed. Honorable Dato' Speaker, I wish to propose that cycling paths be put in new development areas. Cycling as a hobby and exercise is catching on fast among the young and the old. With cycling tracks, we can have a wide area of cycling paths and tracks, and as traffic is increasing, there are cyclists who have no choice but to cycle on the main roads. This is dangerous for both cyclists and vehicular traffic. So, with cycling paths done in housing estates and eventually connecting to these main roads, which will also have cycling lanes, cyclists do not have to travel far in order to cycle, and they can be safe too. Dato' Speaker, I wish to propose that subsidies be given to Grab drivers. As Grab has been so popularly used during the pandemic, it would be a good idea to use them to continue to deliver food to every corner in Sarawak, as well as a form of public transport. The state government may consider subsidizing Grab drivers so that passengers will need to pay less, thereby encouraging and increasing the use of Grab, thereby increasing income opportunities for Grab drivers, bringing convenience to locals and tourists alike, and most objectively, reducing the number of vehicles on the road if passengers opt for shared rides. This way, traffic congestion on our roads will be greatly reduced. As time goes on and once other forms of public transport gets commissioned, including the autonomous rail transport and hydrogen buses, we will need fewer private and individual vehicles on the road, thereby reducing pollution and immense traffic congestion. Dato' Speaker, Padawan, including Batu Kitang, is growing fast in terms of population. We need another secondary school to cope with the increasing number of school children. There are many children in Padawan and Batu Kitang who are forced to travel a fair distance due to the lack of secondary school in Padawan area, and I wish to propose that this secondary school be built in Batu Kitang. I would also like to draw attention to the call for Sarawak teachers to be given priority to teach in all schools in Sarawak, in line with Sarawak's call for education autonomy to be returned to Sarawak. Besides schools, a fire station is urgently needed as well. There is one in Bau, and the other nearest one is in Kuching. There is none in Padawan, and the transit time can be long if there is major traffic on the roads. This was one of my pledges during the recent election. I guess the job now rests on the member for Padungan. Dato' Speaker, many have said it, and I wish to reiterate again that flash flooding is a pertinent issue not only in Sarawak, but the whole of Malaysia. Sarawak, however, needs a substantial amount of funds from the federal government to address this issue. My Batu Kitang constituency has not been spared from experiencing flooding after just 1 hour of heavy rain. Sarawak may need to plan for major drainage reserves under our approved plans in future. Developers will not be able to carry out these major drainage works, understandably, as such heavy costs will render their projects not viable. The federal government ought to come in to assist to build up these drainage reserves, assuming a fully developed environment to adequately accommodate future drainage requirements. Billions of ringgit are required to efficiently address flooding issues in Kuching and Greater Kuching, not to mention the whole of Sarawak. Dato' Speaker, there are many old housing estates in my Batu Kitang constituency and even more in and under MPP jurisdiction. Drains and footpaths, especially backlands in old housing estates, need to be addressed, need to be reconstructed. 22 million from Maris funds for Palawan Council annually is grossly insufficient to address these issues. Maris funds comes from the federal government, and there is an unreasonable condition attached to these Maris funds, wherein repay to backlands of housing estates cannot be done, and funds from Maris cannot be used. With 80 billion siphoned from Sarawak annually, Maris funds should be reviewed and should be increased substantially to meet the needs today. I wish to congratulate our Premier of Sarawak for approving a substantial allocation for tower construction and to establish better communication and internet accessibility in his budget speech. Handphone services in Kuching are known to be bad. If the services are so bad, I wonder about those in outskirts area. I often have my conversation cut off when driving at mile 4. Upon reaching mile 7, my handphone conversation would be cut off again. And this is in Kuching. I hope that our authorities concerned will beef up the construction of more telecommunication poles so that access to Wi-Fi and phone services will not be disrupted. In some urban areas, people have difficulty connecting to their Wi-Fi as well. And so there is a need to widen internet coverage and connectivity, especially to rural communities. Now that we are in the technology era, it is important that more telco towers are constructed so that students will have access to do their schoolwork. During the pandemic, we noticed that many rural students were unable to study due to the lack of internet connection. This is something we need to look into seriously and urgently. Dato' Speaker, our Premier of Sarawak is indeed a far-sighted leader. He has long since held a vision for hydrogen economy. Congratulations for his wise judgment. And this is something already happening globally. Hydrogen will indeed be the energy source of the future. And from the Premier's tabling of the Sarawak budget, Premier disclosed that globally, USD 160 billion of direct private investments have been recorded. Private investments. And more than US 400 billion additional private investment in hydrogen plants have been taken up by various governments worldwide.
Yang Mohamad, you have 1 minute, about 1 minute left.
Thank you, Dato' Speaker. Honorable Dato' Speaker, I wish to express my full support for the Supply Bill 2023-2022 delivered by our Honorable Premier of Sarawak, member for N26 Kedong. Finally, I would like to wish our Christian community Selamat Menyambut Hari Christmas and a Happy New Year to all Sarawakians. Thank you, Honorable Dato' Speaker.
Thank you, Yang Mohamad Batu Kitang.